Abs on mid-range. We've got David Shields, our number 6 overall seed with Jeskai aggro, and then Dylan Murphy going to play against Shields in our semifinals, playing mono red aggro. So we begin things here for Humphries. He's got his beautiful tri-land out there in Mystic Monastery. Wolchesky with a Temple of Plenty, and it's time to scry.
Among my favorite first packs in Concentrate Cure Limited.
Oh, the Monastery?
Yeah.
Oh. You're a Jeskai man, huh?
Well, I'm a red-white man, and I don't mind.
Surprise, surprise.
I don't mind splashing some Weapon Masters. I'll take them.
It is a very efficient trick, after all. Humphries will untap, draw a card here. Picks up a copy of Disdainful Stroke. Against Trevor's deck, a little bit different take. What you're going to find here, no copies of Goblin Rabblemaster in the main deck. 3 Bramaz, 3 Seeker of the Way, 4 Mantis Rider, and then a Narset. A little bit different of a spell suite as well, so. He is definitely Jeskai aggro, but the thing about this Jeskai deck is that you can build it so many ways.
I had to imagine Bramaz over Rabblemaster improves the beatdown matchups at the expense of the control matchups.
I do think you probably get yourself a little bit of an edge in the mirror, too.
Yes, I would rather have Bramaz. Though Bramaz is a little bit harder to cast.
Yes.
Double white on turn 3, not the easiest thing for the Shivan Reef deck to be putting together every single time.
We'll have to shift your mana base a little bit. You know, there are 2 copies of Flooded Strand here where we've seen versions play 4. You've got the 4 Temple of Triumphs, 3 Battlefield Forges, 2 Mystic Monasteries, 2 Plains as well. So
yeah, 2 Flooded Strands in a build playing with Bramaz strikes me as a little odd.
Here's a Sylvan Carry added there for Wolchesky. Humphries will cast a Magma Jet. We're going upstairs. Wolchesky down to 17 already. Dig Through Time and Temple of Triumph, Trevor looking at. You see his hand there. He's got a negate. Disdainful Stroke as well, among other things. Also a decent amount of counter magic after sideboard. So he will consult the grip as he does figure out how he wants to scry these cards.
And a Narset as well.
Yeah, that's something to work towards.
Yeah. Remember when when the previews were first starting to roll in and you were very enthusiastic about Narset, and I was not. But I sort of played along because, you know, we're on air and it's a preview card and you're all stoked about it.
Such a nice guy, thank you.
Yeah, but it has, you know, 1 copy in these lists. We've seen it be impressive from time to time.
I like it as a one-of when you have Dig Through Time in your deck, and I like one-ofs in general when you have Dig Through Time in your deck. And I just like the fact that it's a card that you can kind of sculpt a game plan around. Like, that's what my end game is going to be. It's just kind of resolving this. And if I get it into play on a relatively stable board, probably can get the job done. Its ability when attacking is absurd.
Yes.
It's completely absurd.
Got to do some work.
Yes.
You got to structure your deck a certain way, but once it's online, it's very powerful.
Well, Jesse just going to pass the turn back. Looks like he may have missed a land that turn. There's a Temple of Triumph. Looks like Humphries may be looking at a mountain here, but going to scry. And you can see Humphries does have a decent amount of counter magic in his hand. Problem right now here for Trevor, he's only got 1 blue mana.
Which doesn't really matter for the time being because he can still cast his counter spells, but the Dig Through Time, eventually he'll need a 2nd blue.
He does have access to Dissolve in his deck as well. I believe he has 1 copy in his hand. Has 2 of those in his sideboard. Jesse going to cast a Charm here. Looking to peel a couple, get himself out of these mana issues. See if Humphries wants to negate this. Seems like a pretty juicy negate target.
With an opponent missing land drops, I think so. There's a risk it shields down, you know, if Elliott rips a land and drops a Siege Rhino, it looks pretty bad when you have the Disdainful Stroke in your hand, but I like Trevor taking the risk here.
Doesn't look like he found the land. Looks like Wolchesky does have a copy of Sylvan Carry added though, so he's going to deploy that. So didn't find an actual land, but he did find some mana and Carry added, so he'll deploy that, pass the turn back. Humphries draws a copy of Stoke the Flames. All he can do is pass the turn back now. So both players with a little bit of mana issues here as we work our way into the mid-game. Siege Rhino the draw here for Wolchesky.
And Elliott had access to that Carry added the previous turn, but elected to try to charm there. While also, I guess he wasn't actually holding up Hero's Downfall because he was lacking double black at the time.
Only single black at this point. Wolchesky just going to pass the turn back yet again. Does have a copy of Abzan Charm in his hand. Looks like Humphries has already drawn his card for the turn. Not 100% positive at this point.
Trevor has taken some liberties with the mana base here. I mean, going all the way to Dissolve, plus Bramaz, plus Stoke. That is the old double white, double blue, double red deck.
Ever heard of it? It is a delight. Yeah, Wolchesky just going to finally pass the turn here. Again, considering casting a Siege Rhino. Here's a Stoke the Flames that's going to go upstairs, so Humphries is tapped out at this point. He will draw a card, copy Sarkin, a card that he cannot cast. All he can do is pass the turn back. Wolchesky going to bring that charm to the front. Going to try to resolve that again, I think.
I think at this point, Trevor is not going to fight over this, even if he could.
Yeah. I think it's okay to let that one go now that he's got the 4-mana flashpoint.
Yep.
Also, he takes 2.
I was going to say, Elliott going to 11.
Good morning, Legacy Open
Murderous
players.
Cut. Courser of Krufix.
My name is Sean Heath.
Courser is a great card for Elliott to find here because it's some way for him to advance his board and gain some life in the way that Siege Rhino does without exposing himself to disdainful stroke.
3 mana.
Today we have some guest alterists with us. You should please
Is it
check
time
them
to
out.
course? It
They're
is.
really cool alters. We have Shayla the Geek, Jacqueline's alterations,
Top card,
and
Swamp.
Burley alterations.
Great play here from Elliott, not slamming that Siege Rhino down on the table.
Yeah.
If you guys could do me a favor right now, and if there was not somebody sitting
There
across
is
from
the
you,
Swamp.
please raise your hand
Gain life up to 12.
so that we can mark them not here.
Take a look at this top card. Courser of Krufix.
On the other side of your deck list, you should have a waiver form for coverage.
So now Wolchesky's starting to work his way back into the game. Definitely has some decisions to make, needs some more mana. But he's working his way back into things here for Humphries. Life total still high, plenty of good cards over there in his hand, but he's got to find a second blue mana,
4 cards with your friends.
find something else to do.
The Counterspell Burn deck looks awesome when it's firing on all cylinders and looks really cumbersome when it is not.
Yeah.
For sale over there. Check them out.
I like going into heavy Counterspell builds when your deck's very creature heavy, which I guess Trevor's is in a relative sense.
Please don't have any food and drink on the tables. Keep them
Though
on the floor.
Counterspells plus Narset, not exactly
I
the
don't want anybody casting
synergy we're looking for.
Rhyme.
Not your best friend.
It is not great.
All right, guys. I'm going to hand you over to your.
You can probably hear our
today.
players meeting taking place here for our Legacy Open.
From Kittery, Maine.
Pretty healthy turnout here. We'll let you guys know exactly how many people we do have as soon as we know. As Pro Tour Top 8 competitor, Rob Castellan will be the head judge.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Pro Tour Dragons Maze Top 8 competitor. And Hostilities the draw. An embarrassment of riches for Trevor. Look at all these powerful cards, none of which I can really cast. It's very humbling when you have 3 dual lands in play and like 6 cards you can cast a spell.
Yep.
Temple of Plenty on top.
God, I'm land and color screwed.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
I have it all, yet I have nothing at all.
Yeah. And Elliott's got to be sitting there going, what on earth is going on with that hand?
He set me up for the biggest wrath of all time,
Yeah.
which wasn't necessarily true. It kind of is now. Another Courser. Temple of Plenty going to come into play. He's going to gain 2 life, up to 14 now. We'll take a look at the top card here for the Scry in just a moment. That's a Sandstep Citadel.
Okay,
Let's see where that's going to go.
please write your table number in the upper
Bottoms up.
right-hand corner of your
Jessica doesn't need that, so we'll see what this will be. It's a Temple of Silence.
Judges, please begin collecting deck lists.
And an attack for 2. Going to put Humphries down to 18. I can't wait to see what this draw step's going to be. Aha!
All right.
It's on a bit of a time delay, but the second blue is here. Temple of Epiphany is what Humphries has found.
Welcome to the party.
Indeed, indeed. Time to scry. Top card stays on top.
This means if you're not in your seat when the round begins, you'll receive a game loss. If
He's going to give it a long look.
when 10 minutes
He'll
have expired, you'll
pass the
receive a
turn back.
loss and be dropped from the tournament. Legacy is very
Wolchesky will draw. Temple of Silence. Top card now. Thoughtseize. That is not what I would want to see if I was Trevor.
Yeah. If I'm Elliott, I don't even care about taking any cards. I'm just curious.
Yeah, what's over there?
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
What are you doing? Looks like Wolchesky wants to play that Temple. Though he does have a Swamp in his hand that he's been holding for some time. Temple's going to come into play. He's going to work his way up to
All right,
16,
players, before
undoing
we
all the
begin
work to stoke the flames
the very
did.
next round, I need to make sure that everybody's here. So
You have to
if I
imagine
call
he's going to
your
leave the
name,
Thoughtseize on top of his deck.
please make
Seems like a really good
yourself
card right now.
known.
But he's actually going to go to the bottom.
Jason
Wow,
Bouchard.
okay. Oh, well,
Jason
one good
Bouchard,
card
you
deserves
can go
another.
back
Sure.
to you.
Elspeth on top.
Going once, going twice. All right, Jason Bouchard, you dropped. Stephanie Dumoski, are you in the room?
Let's see what else Wolchesky wants to do on this turn.
Dumoski.
I mean, he has to be a little bit curious about what's going on, obviously.
Yeah.
And that both players do have access to each other's sideboards. So, again, they're working with really, really good information. So Elliott knows that Trevor has access to a card like End Hostilities. So he's going to lead out with a Planeswalker instead. And if you're Trevor, you probably have to Disdainful Stroke this because it's such a good card.
It's tough because there's also the Elspeth on top,
Yes.
which is why Elliott's happy to test spell with the Najani here.
No doubt it's scary. You know, the problem here is, you know, that Ajani comes in. Both the pluses are relevant right now.
Okay, players, pairings will be going up momentarily.
As is the ultimate.
You can
Yeah.
hang out and you wanna move your
Wouldn't want anything to do with that thing. I think you have to counter it. You're not happy about it, but I think you have to counter it.
Pairings are up. We'll have pairings up in a couple minutes. Thank you.
Coursers, hiya. In for 4.
We will also be tweeting pairings
Humphries going to go
today.
down to 14.
If you go on Twitter,
Let's see what Trevor's draw is this turn. Now that he's finally got 2 blue mana. It's another copy of Temple of Epiphany. This seems like a relatively good spot to cast in Hostilities, I think.
Well, it depends how much resistance he has to the Planeswalker after the fact. I mean, does he have to try to build towards Dissolve backup?
Maybe
Or
I
Stroke backup or something? I don't know.
I feel like the big plan here, if you're Trevor, because you're just drawing your 6th land, assuming that he does have Narset in his hand, is to cast in Hostilities, play your Temple, scry, do whatever. Next turn, the likelihood of your opponent casting Elspeth is pretty high. You play Narset, and you hope that your Narset is better than their Elspeth and their other stuff.
That's one route. The other thing I could see doing here is just playing a land here, saying go, assume that your opponent will respect the counter spells, do something innocuous, dig, and then be able to play any Hostilities with counterspell backup based on what you dig through.
Okay.
At this point, with an opponent with a full grip and 7 cards in hand, and the way that Elliott's been playing, very mindful of counterspells, I think putting your shields down this turn is a huge risk.
Trevor going to scry here with his Temple.
Maybe he has to end Hostilities because you just cut Elliott off of so much mana. But I would be worried if I'm in Trevor's seat that his leftovers are going to be good enough to beat me, even if I end Hostilities in this spot.
Elspeth to the grip. Top card. Windswept Teeth. Oh, all the life.
Delicious.
Look at that combo. As you mentioned, Wolchesky's leftovers are quite good. A couple of rhinos. He's got a lot of nice cards over there. Going to start by playing the Heath. Going to gain 2 life, go up to 18. See what the top card is now. Urborg. That one doesn't matter too much. Wolchesky with a lot of options right now.
And it's a little tough for Elliott to navigate this game just because it's so perplexing what's been going on so far if you're in his seat.
If you don't have the information, it does make you very curious about what Trevor is up to there.
Trevor stalled on lands. He has drawn lands. He is still not casting anything.
What could he possibly be up to? Do you know what that Plains is?
That is from, I believe, Portal?
Good eye.
I think that's Portal.
Good eye. I'm impressed, actually.
Am I right? Do you know if I'm
Actually, I'm like pretty confident you're correct.
right? Okay.
You ever have Portal when you were a kid?
No, by the time Portal came out, I was already like kind of playing in tournaments and stuff.
I remember my dad bought me a couple of Portal packs back in the day. Wish I still had those cards. They're probably worth something.
For the most part, they're not. I mean, the Three Kingdoms cards are, but random portal cards, generally speaking, are not that valuable. There's natural order that was in portal.
The lands are pretty nice.
Yeah, the lands are nice. I think Wildfire, Earthquake, there's a couple, you know, reasonable cards, but for the most part, not that valuable. Now I'm curious to see if Elliott tries to advance his board again.
I don't know if he needs to. I suppose there's a world where he can just cast a spell and say, okay, Siege Rhino, do you want to counter this? Because if not, I get to at least drain you for 3.
Well, he has 2 Elspeths in hand. I think it's pretty safe to just throw an Elspeth out there.
Just jam 1.
Yeah. If it gets countered, it means that Trevor is not casting Dig through time this turn. You have a backup one.
There's also a world, right, where Trevor believes that is the Elspeth from the top of the deck, and he only thinks he has 1.
Sure.
I'm not sure how I feel about doing nothing.
Yeah, you have 7 cards in hand, and this doing nothing here may allow Trevor to do the tempo swing that he needs, which is dig, find a counter spell, and hostilities with counter spell backup, untap, start doing things.
The counter spell he's looking for is Sustainful Stroke. He's only got 6 mana in play right now, so we're not in the world where he can go and hostilities plus dissolve. We're not quite there yet.
Well, the alternative here is Trevor can also just say go again, take 4 more points of damage, and try to fire this back again next turn.
Yep. Looks like he did find a stroke, though.
Well, stroke plus land, that's the combo here.
That is a delight. Taking a long look.
I mean, this is the sequence that I believe gives him a shot to win this game.
Looks like he's going to take a Flooded Strand.
Your scorekeeper.
I do find that a little bit interesting. Like, taking a Flooded Strand makes sense because he wants another card in the graveyard for dig through time. Though that 1 life that he will have to pay certainly matters. Now, he did draw a mountain for the turn, so he could play that if he'd like. But we can't forget, Flooded Strand also gives another blue mana. That's not a bad spot to be in either. He's going to sacrifice the Strand right now. Looks like he's quickly searching for an island because there's a plains right in front of him. He doesn't want anything to do with that.
You have 50 minutes. You may be
Trying to play a little quicker now. A little confidence picking up, maybe?
A little bit. Yeah, I think Elliott really needed to cast something last turn. I can respect it not being the Siege Rhino because and hostilities is on his radar at this point, but not casting one of the spare Elspeth, I think, is a misstep.
I think you just have to do something.
Yeah.
Because, there's not like a flash threat hanging out in his hand. He doesn't have an Abzan Charm to my knowledge, so I feel like you just have to do something in that situation. Coursers don't provide enough pressure. And you're playing against a deck that, you don't want to give them the opportunity to dig through time after you don't do anything. Looks like hostilities are about to be ended. And they are. So Sandstep Citadel will be turned face down. That'll be Wolchesky's draw next turn. Those 4 creatures will die. Now Elliott only with 6 mana instead of 8. He will draw. There's the Citadel. Now he slides Elspeths forward.
But the writing's on the wall at this point, what Trevor's been building towards this whole time.
He's made it very clear.
Yeah.
This plus counterspell backup. Maybe it's time for a Moo Cow. The Rhino. It looks like he's changed his mind. He's going to go with Elspeth. Absolutely not. That will be countered. There's a Swamp. Pass the turn back. A little surprised to see Swamp that turn instead of the Citadel.
Well, he has Murderous Cut.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense.
Doesn't want to get hit by a Mantis Rider or some such. And now he's drawn that land, so now he can play Sarkin with Dissolve back up.
And that's exactly what he's going to do. So now, in for 4. Can't cut that one.
Nope.
That bad boy is indestructible.
And now Elliott is suddenly in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, Trevor's done a really nice job of, being patient, not freaking out when things were going poorly.
Yep.
Took Elliott a little while to get off the ground, and now he has established himself very well here, as now we're working our way into the late game. And for Elliott, he's got a lot of great cards in his hand, but he's got to actually, turn these into something. You
Yeah.
don't win. You don't get any extra points if you end the game with siege rhinos and stuff. You actually got to cast those cards.
Card advantage only becomes a thing when you convert it into something. When they're in your hand, it's not worth that much.
I believe Wolchesky does have a copy of Hero's Downfall in his hand. There's also an Utter End hanging out too, so Sarkin's not the end of the world. See, Humphries wants to take a look at the bin, see what's over there. A lot of cards down there. Murderous Cry will just cost a single black mana. And now Elliott's going to go reaching. Looks like. Trying to figure out exactly what he wants to do on this turn. He says, how about Hero's Downfall? Now, I am very curious if Trevor will protect, and he very quickly says no. I think he has a backup Sarkin in his hand, too, so he didn't even really think about that very long.
Yeah.
Or perhaps he had beforehand.
Yes, he had already, I think, sculpted out his lines here.
Dissolve on the Rhino. Time to scry. Top card to the bottom. We think, yes. Quick untap after the Citadel comes into play. I do wonder if maybe it's Narset time. Is he banishing like the draw?
It's a nice combo. I mean, it gives him insurance against whatever the follow-up is.
Yeah. Six
Ba-ba-ba-bam.
mana. It's showtime, folks. The Khan of the Jeskai in the house. Narset Enlightened Master.
This must make you very happy.
Well, it's really something when it attacks.
Yep.
It's a very hopeless feeling. First strike and hexproof allows it to actually do a really nice job of beating Elspeth's tokens, not to mention 3 power instead of 4.
Yeah, it does match up, I guess, reasonably well against Elspeth.
And don't forget, it's non-creature cards you get to cast. There's Thoughtseize. Timely. Banish Light and Sarkin, the cards that Wolchesky's looking at here. Pretty tough choice there. You know, if the plan was to play a Siege Rhino, you probably take the Banishing Light, but then you have Sarkin staring you in the face.
Yep, these are not the leftovers that Elliott wanted to see here.
Not at all. I bet he was hoping to see something like Lightning Strike.
Land.
Yeah, yeah, that too. Instead, delightful cards here for Humphries. Bye-bye, Sarkin. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Elspeth's here. As great a card as Elspeth is, it's a beatable one in this situation.
Yeah. Particularly because of Banishing Light.
Yeah. There's a Citadel. Big die. Let's see the draw. Just a plains, nothing exciting. But for Humphries, again, because of first strike on Narset, he can safely just say, attack you.
Yep. Elliott can chump for a while,
Absolutely.
but he's not going to be able to kill this Narset.
Trevor gonna take a quick step away, asking a judge a question.
But he is in a safe position here, as far as the Narset is concerned.
Yeah.
Nothing bad can really happen. He does have the Banishing Light left over, so he just has the option of Banishing Light. I imagine post-combat, based on what he reveals with the Narset.
That'll inform his decision more.
Yeah, but really up in the air right now. It's been a fun game to watch. Trevor's done a magnificent job sculpting out a game plan here.
I think so too. I have been impressed thus far with his ability to sculpt a game plan around Narset. This is the second time we've seen him on camera. We saw that actually yesterday as well. So he has one Narset in his main, one Narset in his board. You see the reveal here of Dig Through Time and Jeskai Charm.
Oodalally.
It is a is a good time to be Trevor Humphries.
Yeah.
Things are going to get worse before they get better for Elliott Wolchesky.
So Trevor gets to scope out the action. Jeskai Charm for free.
Going to read Narset a couple times.
Oh, it's really happening.
Yeah, this is what it does.
This is real life.
you got to work for it.
Yeah, it's not free.
Yeah, it's not even a 3/2. That's not even good. That's a small creature for 6 mana. Gonna block there. Now the fun begins. Until end of turn, you may cast non-creature cards, exiled with Narset without paying their mana cost. Free Dig is a good place to start.
Yeah, sure.
See a Temple, another Narset, a Negate, a Flooded Strand, a Jeskai Charm, a Faded Conflagration, and a Bramaz.
That is some juice.
You're not wrong.
You can even keep the Banishing Light here. Just take, say, Counterspell plus Faded Conflagration. Get rid of the Elspeth with the Faded Conflagration.
Mm-hmm. And Scry 2.
And Scry 2.
Oh, the value.
Or you can take Jeskai Charm Negate, since the revealed Jeskai Charm has Elliott on 9.
The other Jeskai Charm would put him at 5.
It's not bad.
And then perhaps Narset can clean up.
Elliott's got a lot of chump blockers and.
Oh, not Narset's attacking damage.
Oh, you just
another hit. Oh yeah, spin the wheel again.
The Spinnerooski.
Looks like he's going with Jeskai Charm Negate. Thought about Faded Conflagration for a little while. Certainly does need a backup Narset, but he will consult these cards a little while. Now he's going to go back to Faded Conflagration. So that Negate perhaps. Conflagration is a little bit interesting in this situation. Does have the mana to cast it though, very, very easily.
It just depends if he cares about keeping a Banishing Light in his hand.
Yeah. So Jeskai Charm you most likely tie things up 9-9 here. So there are the 4 cards in the grip. Got the Conflag, got the Negate. Has the Plains and the Banishing Light. Starts by playing the Plains. Gonna reorganize some mana here. Here's 4 mana. Faded Conflagration. See you later, Elspeth. This is that's a favorite card of mine right now. Scry 2, Stoke, and Plains.
This feels like keep Stoke, put Plains on the bottom,
Yep.
if that's the case.
He might be going both to the bottom. Doesn't care about either. All right, let's change his mind.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to give up a Stoke when you're looking at a Narset trigger again next turn.
Well, of course, he'll draw. I mean, he'll draw Stoke.
No, I'm just saying that it's so likely that he dies
Yeah.
from the sum of damage.
Yep. Because now he's at a virtual 5.
Yeah.
And then Narset has a turnover, just 2 burn spells. And he's got to be feeling pretty safe with Negate plus Banishing Light as the last 2 cards in his hand.
And Elliott with nothing but targeted removal as his leftovers here.
That soldier will soldier on. Humphries down to 8. Just going to pass the turn back.
Well, this also means that Trevor can now Banishing Light the token away, and that's 3 more damage.
This is true.
There's no instant speed creatures in this, or edicts in this Obzon deck, right? So,
Let's take a look at a couple cards here. Stoke. Jeskai Charm.
okay, well,
Hell.
never mind.
Kindly leave. If Narset gets to attack once, it's probably hard to win. If it gets to attack twice, I think it's very hard to win.
This card is a riot.
Stoke you, Charm you, Stoke you.
Negate backup.
That is going to do it. Trevor Humphries going to win this match over Elliott Wolchesky. 2-1. Jeskai aggro going to move on thanks to the Khan of Jeskai, Narset Enlightened Master. For Humphries, he's going to face the Boz.
Yeah, so that was a pretty compelling match of Magic right there. Trevor did an incredible job of sculpting out a game plan. Execute. It's one thing just to play the cards in your hand